Now, I want to tell you a little bit about why I think there's a difference between Buzz Aldrin and Niki Lauda, other than the fact that they obviously did very different jobs. So Buzz Aldrin, one of the first people to walk on the moon, and he, phenomenal guy. But having walked on the moon, he suffered from, I don't know if you've seen some of the films around the moon landing. Buzz Aldrin suffered horribly from depression after walking on the moon, because I suppose like the mindset is, that's his goal. His goal was to walk on the moon. Once you've achieved that goal, it's kind of difficult to beat that one, isn't it? It's like it's really difficult to, he wasn't going to go walk on Mars 5 years later, was he? So he suffered horribly from depression after walking on the moon. Niki Lauda, on the other hand, and again, I don't know if you've seen the film about his life and about his horrible crash, where literally, he was like seconds from death. The skin literally melted off his face, and yet, astonishingly, 6 weeks later, he was back racing again because he was trying to win the World Championships. He actually came second in the World Championships that year, but he did win the Formula One World Championships 3 times. And so it would have been very easy for him to have slipped into the same mindset as Buzz Aldrin. And, I've won the World Championship 3 times. Where do I go from here? And slip into a depression. And yet, actually, he didn't. What he did was he founded 3 airlines. He was a consultant for Ferrari. He was team manager for Jaguar. He had what gets termed a journey mindset. So a journey mindset is he was constantly moving to the next thing. And that's what we've really got to think about with goal setting is we want to set these amazing goals, but by the time we achieve them, if we're doing that 90-day policy, like I already said, we've already set the next goals that we can get excited about. It doesn't mean we shouldn't celebrate our successes. Absolutely, we should celebrate our successes. But by the time I'd sold Efficient Portfolio, my goals were all around the trusted team and the hub and spoke and the other businesses that I had in mind. It wasn't about, I celebrated the success of Efficient Portfolio being sold, but I also wanted to, never got depressed because I was excited about these next things, these next challenges. That is the journey mindset that we need to create with the right goal structure. Also, with the right goal structure, I alluded to it a little bit earlier on. Goals that are 3 years or less need to be SMART goals. So what does SMART stand for? It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So specific means that it's got to be, you've got to nail it down. You've got to know exactly what it is. None of this woolly, fluffy stuff. It's got to be specific. It's got to be measurable. How do you know when you've succeeded? If it's not measurable, if it's to be happy, how is that measurable? Can't be. It might be, it might be to be healthy. How's that? It might be to lose weight. And if that's the case, it might be a specific way. It might be to run a marathon or a half marathon or a 10K or a 5K. It's got to be specific, and you've got to be able to measure whether you've done it or not. It's got to be attainable. It's got to be realistic. Like if I'd said, instead of putting completing an Ironman, if I'd said I was going to complete, what Sean Conway's just done, 100 Ironmans, 105 Ironmans in 105 days, that would not be attainable for me. I'm sure maybe it would be if it was a priority, but it's got to be within the boundaries of realistic. It's got to be relevant. It's got to be important to what's important to you, those 6 spheres of success. It's got to be relevant to where you're trying to get to in business and life. And it's got to have a specific time frame on it. It's got to be timely. The other thing about goal setting is when we set these big goals, like we at the moment, we've only set the long-term goals. We haven't brought that back down to the shorter-term goals. But when we set those long-term goals, it can seem really daunting, really scary and ridiculous. And how would you ever achieve that? But they often liken goal setting to eating an elephant. Eating an elephant would seem like a daunting thing. But actually, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So Actually, it's just about taking one bite at a time. That big, scary, audacious goal can be really frightening as to how you're going to achieve it. But if you break it down into one bite at a time, actually, it's amazing what you can achieve. Because ultimately, what we tend to do is we tend to get really daunted by these big goals. But if we understand what small goals we need to achieve along the way, we can achieve so much. And one of the other things that I'd like you to think about is if you're setting goals, if you were one of those people that said, I'm working too many hours, it's absolutely vital that you're setting goals in how much time you have off. I think as an entrepreneur, as an absolute minimum, you should be having 1 week off a quarter, 1 day off a week, and kind of a sabbatical kind of every so often. So maybe 1 year off every 5 or something like that. I'm actually, so the goal that's on my goals for this particular approach this year was 5 hours a day, 5 hours a day, five days a week when I'm in proper work mode. And when, like over the summer, we spent the whole summer in Cornwall. There I'm doing 4 hours, 4 hours a day, 4 times a week. But when I'm in my office and in work mode, I'm doing 5 hours a day, five days a week. I did actually go down to a 4-day week, and then I decided actually I don't enjoy it. I'd rather work a few hours on a Friday, which was the day I decided I wasn't going to work previously. So 5 times 5 or 4 times 4 are my working weeks. That's why I approached that. Then obviously I have the 3 months off. That's spread out over the course of the year. So it's really important that if you're working too many hours, you think specifically about how much time you're having off. And like I say, 1 week a quarter and 1 day a week should be the absolute minimum that you should be taking out. So the secret to amazing goals is to break everything down. We've done the lifetime goals, but if we want to achieve those lifetime goals, what we've got to have is some smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely 3-year goals. Essentially, what we're trying to do is to say, well, okay, if I want to achieve these lifetime goals, what have I got to do over the course of the next 3 years to ensure I succeed with those goals? What have I got to achieve? Then we work it backwards again and we say, well, okay, if I want to hit those 3-year goals, what have I got to achieve over the next 12 months to mean that I'm on track for that? Again, smart goals, got to be specific and measurable. Then we come down to the 90-day approach. What have we got to do? If we want to hit those 1-year goals, what have I got to do over the next quarter to ensure I'm on target to hit those 1-year goals? Then again, what have I got to do this month to be on track to hit those quarters goals? And what have I got to do this week to hit my month's goals? And if you take this approach, this approach is basically showing you what you've got to do this week to be moving 1 step closer to your lifetime goals. That means every week you're making 1 step towards your lifetime goal. Every week you're making 1 step towards those smart and specific, measurable 3-year goals. That is incredibly powerful. A, to know, and B, to motivate you. And it also means that those goals are constantly in your mind, which also is how you're likely to achieve these goals. And what will end up happening is you'll create amazing weeks, which will turn into awesome months, which will turn into incredible quarters, which will turn into sensational years, which will turn into sublime decades, and that will lead to an unbelievable life, I promise you. Each quarter is 1% of your 25-year goals. Each quarter you need to be making 1 more step. And what will end up happening is you will achieve those 3-year goals. So the 3-year goals are they're not the most important, but 3 years, as I found in my experience, is the longest we can create smart, specific goals around. So those 3-year goals are, the lifetime goals tend to be that's a little bit fluffier, a little bit more woolly. But the 3-year goals are over a time frame that you can get your head around and you can still make them smart. So those goals are the ones that I spend most time thinking about. Okay, so I want to give you some time. Now, this is a longer exercise than, again, I can give you today in this workshop. But again, I want you to make a start on this.